When assessing whether a work is a feminist work or not, oftentimes people will use something called the Bechdel test. But the trouble is that's not actually the most fair way of assessing whether a work is a feminist work or not.
Welcome back to Booksplaining. I'm your host, Dr. Punita Rice.
Today we're talking about the Bechdel test. It's a test that people put on fiction to see whether or not the work is considered feminist. And the barometer that it uses is the following three things. Number one, it must feature at least two women. Number two, the two women must talk to one another. Number three, they must discuss something other than a man. And number four, this is like an optional one. Sometimes there's a rule that the women have to have names. It does do a good job of pointing out how women are oftentimes flimsy characters in works that are created, written, and directed by men. But again, it's a flawed barometer for assessing whether a work is a work of feminist fiction or not. A book that's a feminist book can exist in conversation with the patriarchy and still fail the Bechdel test and still very much be a work of feminist fiction. Consider The Handmaid's Tale, or my own book, The River's Daughter. None of these works actually pass the Bechdel test. My own book, The River's Daughter, the story of Syra Razan is absolutely steeped in the patriarchy. It's also a love story. Syra's relationship to men is absolutely part of the story. Despite failing the Bechdel test, just like The Handmaid's Tale, I see my work as very feminist. One of my all-time favorite works of fiction is Naomi Alderman's The Power. In The Power, we look at a world in which women and girls wake up with the power to electrocute people with their hands. The book offers a very zoomed out look at the world, how the gender hierarchy would flip if women were the ones who were physically dominant. Also fails the Bechdel test. In that book, there's a really great line. Gender is a shell game. What is a man? Whatever a woman isn't. What is a woman? Whatever a man is not. Tap on it and it's hollow. Look under the shells. It's not there. Decades earlier, Simone de Beauvoir said something very similar when describing women as both the second sex and as the other. Men are perceived as the neutral, the default. Also very similar to the way in which race functions, which I've talked about in other videos. That's the shell game. As Kamala's mother famously said, do you think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of everything that came before you. Do live in the context of everything that came before us. But with how things are right now, we are the second sex. You can't write most decent feminist fiction in a vacuum. The context is going to be part of that conversation if the work is supposed to feel and read as true. To be clear, I'm not trashing the Bechdel test, but I am pointing out that it was not ever really meant to be like a scorecard of whether or not a work is or isn't feminist. So my homework for you is, what is a work that you have read and enjoyed that fails the Bechdel test, but is absolutely a work of feminist fiction?